So guys, we are revising the 2019 integrated science for grade 9s. So let's start with question number 1. So question number 1 is saying, study the diagram below on the male reproductive system in human beings. Question: which numbered organ is responsible for keeping the temperature conducive for sperm production? Okay, so we have part 4, which is the scrotum. Then part 3, which is the testis. Then part 2, this is the penis. So 2, that's the penis. And then 1, that is the urethra. 1 urethra. So now, when we look at the functions of these, we know the function of 1, the urethra, is the passage of both sperm and urine. Then penis, the function of the penis is to deposit sperms into the vagina. Then 3, the testis, the function of the testis is to produce sperms. And then the function of the scrotum, it is to store or keep the temperature conducive for sperm production. It also protects the testes. So the part which keeps the temperature conducive for sperm production is the scrotum, which is 4. Okay, so the answer is D. Okay, let's move on to question number 2. Which of the following is not a good health habit? Okay, A, washing the reproductive organs regularly with soap and clean water. So this one is a good health habit. Then B, changing sanitary towels regularly during menstruation. This one is also a good healthy habit. Then let's look at D, changing underwear regularly and ironing them before wearing. This one is also a good health habit. Now let's look at C, keeping the reproductive organs damp and wet. This one is not a good healthy habit. So the correct answer is C. Okay, let's look at question number 3. So question number 3 is saying, the following diagram shows a process that occurred during human reproduction. Okay, so we have this female sex cell. So this is an ovum. This is an ovum. Then we have this one is what? This one is a sperm. So we have a sperm cell and we have an ovum. Okay, so these two, they are fusing up, and the fusion of the sperm and the ovum, the fusion of the sperm and the ovum to form a zygote. This is what we call fertilization. This process is fertilization, and this one occurs in the oviduct or fallopian tube. Okay, so this is fertilization. What is fertilization? Fertilization is the fusion of the male sex cell, which is a sperm cell, and the female sex cell, which is an ovum, to form a zygote, and it occurs in the oviduct or fallopian tube. So the process shown in the diagram illustrates fertilization. So the answer is A, fertilization. Okay. So let's continue. So now we are moving on to question number 4. So question number 4 is saying, which of the following best describes the function of the placenta? Okay. So which one best describes the functions of the placenta? So A, transports food, nutrients, and oxygen to the embryo. B, protects the embryo against external shocks. C, allows implantation of the zygote and embryo development. D, allows exchange of food, nutrient, and oxygen between the mother and the embryo. So the best function of the placenta in this case is D, allows exchange of food, nutrients, and oxygen between the mother and the embryo. Okay. Question 5. The deficiency disease caused by lack of vitamin D in the diet resulting in soft and weak bone development is deficiency of vitamin D results in poor formation of what? Bones. Okay. Now this leads to a deficiency disease called rickets. So we know kwashiorkor is caused by lack of proteins. Okay. Then marasmus, this one is caused by lack of carbohydrates. Rickets is caused by lack of vitamin D or calcium. Okay. Then scurvy is caused by lack of vitamin C. So in this case, our correct answer is D, rickets. Okay, the answer is D, rickets. So let's move on to question number 6. Which of the following does not describe the importance of children's clinic? Okay. A, immunization of the child against diseases. This is an importance. Then B, growth monitoring through wearing the child. This one is also an importance. Then D, provision of nutritional advice when there are signs of malnutrition. This one is also an importance. Okay, then let's look at C, monitoring if the child will have learning difficulties as it grows. No, this one is not an importance. Okay, so the answer is C. Okay, let's look at question number 8. The diagram below shows the basic structures of a plant cell. Question: the structures that are never found in the animal cell are. So let's look at these parts. So 4, this is the nucleus. 4, this is the nucleus. Then 5 is the cell membrane. 5, cell membrane. Then 6, this is the cytoplasm. 3, this is the chloroplast. Then 2, this is the cell wall. And then 1, this is the vacuole. 1 is the vacuole. Okay, so now the structures that are never found in an animal cell are chloroplast and cell wall. Chloroplast and cell wall. Okay. Some animal cells may have a small invisible vacuum, but the question is, which ones are never found in an animal cell? So the best answer is 2 and 3, which is cell and chloroplast. So the answer for this question is B. Okay. Okay. So now let's move on to question number 9. What is the name of the process in plants that is negatively affected when oxygen is in limited supply? So they want us to identify a process which is affected when oxygen is in limited supply. So let's look at this. We have osmosis. What is osmosis? Osmosis is the movement of water molecules from a high concentrated region to a low concentrated region across a selective repairable membrane. Then let's look at B, respiration. What is respiration? Respiration is the breaking down of glucose to release energy. Okay. Then C, transpiration. What is transpiration? Transpiration is the loss of water vapor by a plant through the stomata. Then photosynthesis. This is the process by which green plants manufacture glucose out of carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight trapped by chlorophyll. Now the process which depends on oxygen in this case is respiration. Okay, because we know when you talk about tissue respiration, the weight equation will say glucose plus oxygen, okay, we say is equal to carbon dioxide plus water plus energy. Okay, I'm writing symbols because of space here. Okay, so the process which uses oxygen in this case is respiration. So it's going to be affected if oxygen is in limited supply. So the answer is respiration. Okay, let's look at question 10. Study the diagram below showing a basic structure of an animal cell. Question: identify the parts or the part of an animal cell showing the site where most chemical reaction take place. So let's identify these parts. So one, this is our cytoplasm. 2, nucleus. 3, cell membrane. Okay, and looking at the functions, the cell membrane allows some solution to get in and out of the cell. That's the function of cell membrane. It allows some solution to get in and out of the cell. The nucleus, the function of the nucleus, it controls all cell activities. Nucleus controls all cell activities. Then cytoplasm, the function, it is a site where most chemical reaction or processes takes place. So the answer for this particular question is 1, which is a cytoplasm. So the answer is 1 only, which is A. So cytoplasm, that's where almost all chemical reaction takes place. Or you can say it's the medium for chemical reactions. Okay, let's move on, guys, to question number 11. Which statement best describes a molecule? Okay, so what is a molecule? So a molecule is dash A, the smallest particle of an element. Okay, this is an atom. So this is an atom. Then B, a molecule is that which occupies space and does weight. This is the definition for mass. Then a small group of atoms of elements joined together. This one is a molecule. This one is a molecule. Okay, this one is a molecule. So the correct answer is C. Okay, a molecule is a small group of atoms of elements joined together. We can say a molecule is a combination of two or more atoms. So the correct answer in this case is what? Is C. Question 12. Pure ice was heated to a temperature of 60 degrees Celsius and then cooled to room temperature. Which row shows the correct state of matter before heating at 60 degrees Celsius and after cooling? Okay, so before heating the ice, it was in solid state. So before heating, it was in solid state. Then after heating, you realize this one is going to melt. It's going to undergo melting, which is going to turn from a liquid going to turn into a liquid. Okay, from a solid is going to turn into a liquid after heating this. Okay, at a temperature of 60 degrees Celsius. Okay, then after cooling, this one is going to maintain what? A liquid state. So before heating, solid. After heating at 60 degrees Celsius, the solid is going to change into a liquid, okay, by melting. Then after cooling is going to maintain the what? The liquid state. So the answer is C. Okay, solid before heating, solid at 60 degrees Celsius, liquid after heating, liquid. So my best answer in this case is C. Okay. Okay, so let's continue. Now let's look at question number 30. The diagram below shows an experiment on the separation of a mixture. What term is used to describe M? Okay, so the liquid which is now corrected here. Okay, so this liquid is called a distillate. Okay, since this method of separation is simple distillation, this is simple distillation. This is simple distillation. Okay, so the liquid corrected is the distillate, from the word distillation. So the liquid now which is now corrected is the distillate. If this process was, let's say, filtration, maybe it was like this. You have something like this. Okay, maybe we had something like this. Then okay, we have this liquid corrected. So this process is filtration. This is filtration, and the liquid which is corrected is the filtrate. You see, process filtration, liquid corrected filtrate, process simple distillation. Okay, the liquid corrected distillate. Okay, so the answer is A. Okay, question number 14. Which of the following are used to measure mass and weight? So mass is measured using a beam balance. This one. Okay, this one is the one which is used to measure mass. Okay, this one. So this one, it is the one used to measure mass. It's the beam balance scale. Okay, so this one measures the mass. Then weight is measured using a spring balance, which looks like this. Okay, it looks like something like this. This is what we call a spring balance. So this one measures the weight. So mass is measured using a beam balance, while weight is measured using a spring balance. Okay, so the answer is A. Okay, let's look at question number 15, a question on density. So we are told to say Elena was asked to determine the density of a stone. She made the following measurements. Volume of water in the measuring cylinder before immersing the stone was what? 30 cubic centimeter. So that was the volume of water in the measuring cylinder. So meaning they're talking about a situation like where can I write? Where can I write, guys? So let me see. Let me do this. Okay. So we have a situation like this. So we have a measuring cylinder. Okay. So before putting in a stone, the volume was 30 cubic centimeters. Okay, that's the meaning of this point. Okay, then point 2, the volume of water in the measuring cylinder after immersing the stone was 50. Okay, so meaning now after putting in the stone in the measuring cylinder, the volume rose from 30 to 50. This happened after immersing in the stone. This is the stone. Okay, so now here we need to know the volume of the stone. So how can we calculate the volume of the stone? So we can calculate the volume of the stone by saying we are going to consider the initial level of water before immersing in the stone to be our V1. So this is volume 1. Then after immersing in the stone, the volume rose from 30 to 50. So 50 becomes our V2. So now finding the volume of the stone, we are going to say V2 minus V1. So it's equal to V2 it's 50 cubic centimeters. V1 it's 30 cubic centimeters. Okay, so we're going to say is equal to, okay, we are going to say is equal to 50 cubic centimeters minus 30, you get 20 cubic centimeters. Okay, so this is the volume of the stone. Let's move on. Mass of the measuring cylinder and the 30 cubic centimeter of water is 20 120 grams. So the mass of the measuring cylinder plus 30 cubic centimeter 120. Okay. Then for the mass of a measuring cylinder, comma 30 cubic centimeter and the stone was 170. Okay, so here what we're going to do is we have a total mass of 170. Now this 170 is the combination of mass of the cylinder plus mass of the 30 cubic centimeter of water and the mass of the stone. So here you're going to find the mass of the stone by just saying okay, so we're going to say mass of the stone, okay, mass of the stone is equal to 170 grams minus 120 grams. What we're going to get is now the mass of the stone. So 170 minus 120 get 50 grams. So this 50 grams is the mass of the stone. And then the question is saying, using the information above to determine the density of the stone. Okay, the density of the stone is, okay, so now they want us to find the density of the stone. Okay, I hope you're able to see, guys. So we're going to say density is equal to mass over volume. Okay, so density is equal to mass of the stone, it's 50 grams over the volume is what? The volume is 20 cubic centimeters. So these zeros are going to go. We're going to have now density is equal to 2 into 5, it's 2. Put a point. We're going to have a remainder of 1. Then you add the 0. 2 into 10, you're going to have 5. Okay, so the answer is 2.5 grams per cubic centimeters. So the answer in this case, guys, the answer is B, 2.5 grams per cubic centimeters. Okay. Let's move on to question number 16. Okay. So now question number 16 is saying study the following diagram on an experiment on heat transfer. The experiment is demonstrating heat transfer by, so in this case we're talking about now the movement of heat through a gas, because this smoke is in form of a gas. So the transfer of heat, we know transfer of heat through solids is called conduction. So conduction is heat transfer through solids. Then we have convection, which is transfer of heat through liquids, stroke gases. Then we also have radiation, transfer of heat through a vacuum. Now in this case, the heat transfer shown, we're talking about now the movement of heat through this smoke which is now a gas. So the answer is convection. The answer is B, convection. Question number 17. The diagrams below show different levels of mercury in a thermometer before and after it was immersed in hot water. Question: what is the reason for the change in the mercury level from point P to point Q? So what made the level of mercury to move from this point to this point? Okay, so this thermometer was now immersed in hot water. Okay, so what made the mercury to move from point P to point Q? Because the mercury expanded. Okay, so you say mercury expanded, so the answer is A. Okay, the answer is A. Mercury expanded. Okay, so let's move on to question number 18. So question number 18 is saying, study the following diagram showing an experiment on light. Okay, so we have this experiment which is on, and this process is reflection. This is the bending of light, reflection. Okay, so we have reflection. Now we are told to say which numbered angle shows the angle of deflection. Okay, so in fact here we have two processes. On top we have reflection, which is bouncing, then as light passes through this medium and then it bends. Sorry guys, so this one we're supposed to have the two processes, reflection as well as reflection. So this is bouncing, we have the bouncing of light as well as so we have bouncing, we also have bending. Okay, sorry for that. So now guys, the question is saying which numbered angles show the angle of reflection. Okay, so first one represents this is what we call the angle of incidence. So one this is the angle of incidence. Then two is the angle of reflection. Angle of reflection. Okay, and then 4, the angle between the normal and the refracted ray. This is what we call the angle of reflection. Okay, now in our case they are saying which numbered angle shows the angle of reflection. So the answer is 2. The answer is 2. This is the angle of reflection. So the answer is B. Okay, let's look at question number what? You're looking at question number what? Let me just move my camera. We're now looking at question number 19. Which of the following is the second most abundant gas in clear air? Okay, so we know the most abundant air is nitrogen. Nitrogen has 78%, followed by oxygen. Oxygen has 21%. Then carbon dioxide. These are major gases we talk about. 0.03% is carbon dioxide. Okay, so it's carbon dioxide. Okay, so now which of the following is the second abundant? So the first or most abundant is hydrogen. Second abundant, it's what? Oxygen. So the answer is C, guys. Okay, let's look at question number 20. So question number 19 marks the end of grade 8 work. Okay, so from number 1 to number 19, This is it has been grade 8 week. Now question number 20, this is now grade 9 week, coming from a topic the human body under a subtopic the circulatory system. Okay, which of the following components of blood fights diseases? Okay, so now for the sake of revision, we can look at the functions of each component in this case. So the function of blood plasma, this one transports nutrients, hormones, enzymes, and others. So the functions of the blood plasma, we know plasma is a liquid part of blood. The function of plasma, it is to transport nutrients, hormones, enzymes, antibodies, as well as metabolic waste. That's the function of plasma. Transports nutrients, hormones, enzymes, antibodies, and others. Then platelets. Okay, platelets, these they help in blood clotting. Platelets help in blood clotting. Then we have red blood cells. So the function of the red blood cell, these transport oxygen. Then white blood cells, these they fight the diseases. So the answer in this case is D. Okay, let's look at question number 21. So question number 21 is saying the diagram below shows part of the human respiratory system. Okay, so we have this one is called an air sac. This is an air sac. This is called an air sac. So the function of this air sac, this is where gaseous exchange takes place. This is where gaseous exchange takes place. So in this case, you can see we have this gas entering, which is gas X, S. So S, this one is oxygen entering. Then R, this is what? Carbon dioxide coming out. Carbon dioxide coming out. Okay, and the question is, let's look at the question, guys. The question is, okay, identify the gases R and S. So we said R is, what is R? R is carbon dioxide and S is oxygen. So the answer is C. Okay, the answer is C. R carbon dioxide, then S is oxygen. So let's look at question number 22. Which of the following statements is true about gonorrhea, syphilis, and herpes? They all can be dash. So they all can be. So gonorrhea and syphilis. Now look at STIs. We basically look at 4 examples of STIs. We have I'm doing this for the sake of revision, guys. We have HIV and AIDS. We also have genital warts. Okay, then we have gonorrhea and syphilis. So these two are caused by viruses. Okay, that is HIV and AIDS and genital warts. These are caused by viruses. Then gonorrhea and syphilis, these are caused by bacteria, or they are transmitted by bacteria. Okay, so the correct answer is what? Transmitted by bacteria. The answer is B, transmitted by bacteria. Okay, then HIV and AIDS and genital warts, these are transmitted by viruses. Gonorrhea and syphilis, these are transmitted by bacteria. Let's look at question number 23. Which of the following is not a mode of transmission of HIV? Okay, so A, sharing the same bed with an infected person. Automatically, this one is the answer. Okay, sharing the same bed with an infected person cannot lead to the transmission of HIV and AIDS. Okay, but this one is saying infected mother to child at birth and after birth. Yes, this one can be a transmission. Then sharing needles contaminated with the fresh blood. Yes, this one can be a way of transmission. Then having sexual contact with an infected person. Yes, so the correct answer is A. Okay, let's look at question number 24. What changes nitrogen back into gaseous state in the nitrogen cycle? Okay, so this is done by denitrifying bacteria. Okay, the answer is A, denitrifying bacteria. Okay, these are the bacteria which are now in charge of denitrification. So what is denitrification? Denitrification, this is the conversion of nitrates into nitrogenous gas. Okay, so this is done by denitrifying bacteria. Okay, let's look at question number 25. Chlorine is added to water at a treatment plant in order to, so the reason we add chlorine at a treatment plant is to kill bacteria or germs in the water. So the answer is D. The answer is to kill bacteria or germs in the water. Okay.